Hello everybody. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to try and give you the short view of the pipeline and the sales process itself, okay? I say try because I've long been accused of suffering from verbal diarrhea, and I think there's a bit of truth in that, so it's difficult for me to say things quickly. Anyway, I'll try. This is the pipeline. And the pipeline is the visual or the picture that we use to represent a very basic truth. Yeah, the pipeline is the sales funnel or the sales pipeline, and it says if you don't have enough opportunity here, there's no way on this planet you can guarantee that target or that result that you're aiming for down the end. The pipeline is also used to visualize and illustrate the sales process. What we do is we split the pipeline into different stages, and then we give those stages names, and then we put tools and sales ideas into those stages so that the sales organization can understand what skills and competencies they need at each different stage of the pipeline, and the sales teams can get better and clearer at internal communication and speaking about customers. Okay. Pipeline management is a managerial concept which says how do we manage a group of salespeople and how do we guarantee that our sales teams are moving forward. So when we look at the pipeline, we need to look at it from two perspectives. Firstly, the win for the individual salesperson, which is having a clear idea of how much opportunity is in your pipeline and how much do you need to achieve your target. And secondly, from the organizational perspective, which is how does the company guarantee that they achieve this target? Okay? So what we're going to do now is we're going to look at the overview of the different stages behind this pipeline and what those different stages mean. So if you just move around with me here. And let's move to step one. Step one is the foundation and the most important part of the sales process. Step one is in green, where the customer is evaluating their business environment. The customer is in a constant stage of evaluating their business environment, and there is a particular stage where the customer looks at their business and they say, we need to do certain things in order to make our business better. Yeah? The salespeople in blue here, their job is to understand the customer's business and understand the customer's IT infrastructure and landscape. Yeah? And we are in an IT sales process here. This sales process, the whole sales process that we're going to look at, is designed for organizations that sell IT solutions. It fits one for one with the telco sector, especially in business to business, and it also fits one to one with the complex project-based environment. Okay, so customers evaluating their business environment, deciding what they need to do, what initiatives they need to begin, what projects they need to start and get done over the next however long it is, 1, 2, 3 years. The salespeople are understanding their customers' business environment, what projects they've got in place, understanding their IT as well. The proof step is that the customer and the seller agree to the value of a relationship, which means the salespeople look at this client and they say, yes, this is an interesting client for us. There are projects there that we could do. There is value there that we could demonstrate. We could help this customer implement some of their business plans and ideas. Yeah? The customer looks at the sales organization and says, these guys are good, credible, they have references, they're the right type of organization that we could consider working with in the future. Okay? So that's the goal of step one. Step two. The customer is now developing business strategy and developing their business initiatives. Yeah? Which means they're developing their plans and projects for the short-term future. Short-term means 1 year, 6 months, could mean 2 years or so. This depends on the industry. If you're speaking to a pharmaceutical organization, their planning process is quite a bit longer than if you're speaking to another organization in the IT sector. Yeah? If you're speaking to a bank, they will generally have plans that are far-reaching. 1.5 to 2 years is not unusual. But if you're speaking to an organization in the retail sector, then you're looking at 9 months at already being quite a long-term plan. Yeah? Different industries have different planning needs. Yeah. Anyway, the customer starts developing their projects and developing their ideas of what their projects are going to look like. The people who own these projects and ideas are going to their bosses and saying, "Can you give me resources and money to pay for this stuff?" The salespeople are developing plans linked to their customers' business plans. Yeah. So step 1 and step 2 are really the foundations of a good relationship. The purpose of doing step 1 is to find projects. The purpose of step 2 is to address those projects and say to the customer, "Dear customer, we've spent some time understanding what your business is all about. We think there's something that you're doing where we have products and services where we can bring these two together, and we want to show you some of this stuff." Yeah? So creating curiosity is one of the key elements of step 2. The proof. How do you prove that you've done step 2? The customer demonstrates interest in working with the seller. So the customer says to the sales organization or the salesperson, "That's interesting. I want to look at this in a little bit more detail." Okay? And this gives us the permission, if you like, or this moves us through to step 3. Now, step 3 is critical in the following respect. The customer recognizes that they have needs. Yeah? Say, for example, the customer has got a need, or the customer in step 1, they're evaluating their business environment, and they say they need somebody says, "Oh, the coffee is terrible here." Yeah? So somebody gets given the job of identifying a new coffee machine. Yeah? And then one of this guy's friends says, "Oh, I've got a coffee machine at home." The customer says, "Good. In that case, I don't need to buy one. So I don't have a need for a new coffee machine." Yeah? But generally speaking, the customer is going to be involved in looking at their department. They want to reorganize some element of their department or something, and then they start developing this idea further. They realize that there are certain skills or competencies or solutions that they need in order to do this, and they don't have them at the moment, so they recognize that they have this need. Yeah? The sales organization now establishes this buying vision with the customer, which means the salespeople go in and start speaking to the customer about what the client really needs. Yeah, what are their needs? What are their pains? What are their problems? What issues, challenges are they trying to solve? What are they trying to get sorted? Yeah, what's their reality? What are they dealing with? What do they want to achieve? Where do they want to go? What's this thing going to do for them when they finally got it? Yeah. So step 3 is the art of sales. Yeah. This is the consultative question-asking technique and approach that the salesperson has to get the customer to the stage where they really understand what the problem is and how the potential ways of solutions of going to solve it. How do you prove this? The proof step. The customer states their business need, their buying vision, and the agreement to support the salesperson's access to the power sponsor. That took a little bit of a long time to say. Basically, what it says is that the customer says, "I know what I want, I know why I want it, I know what it's going to do to me, and I know who I've been speaking to help me arrive at this place. And yes, I'm going to take you to see my boss because he's the guy with the money, and he needs to approve this as well." Yeah, the ideal case scenario. Obviously, there's a whole bunch of stuff that can go wrong in this case scenario that we'll look at later, but that's where we're going. Step 3. Okay, now, we've done something very important. We've done steps 1, 2, and 3. And those are the key sales steps. If you look back at this pipeline, We've got the early stages of the pipeline over here, and this is the responsibility of salespeople, client representatives, sales reps, people who are responsible for the relationships, people who are responsible for identifying opportunity and moving that opportunity to the stage where other people can come into the opportunity. Yeah? Which other people? Well, in the middle of the sales process, we will now need brand people, product people, solution specialists, pre-sales people to come in and do presentations and speak to the customer about products, projects. We'll need project managers. The whole thing starts becoming more complex. Yeah? So steps 1, 2, and 3 are the home of the sales rep. Yeah? And let there be absolutely no question as to the level of responsibility that the sales rep has. The sales rep is responsible for building the buying vision with the customer. Okay? Good. Step 4. The customer now evaluates their options. Yeah? They say, you know, what different options do we have? And so in every complex sales process, or in every sales process where we're speaking about quite a substantial bit of money, there will be a stage where the customer starts, you know, they have to justify their reason for making a particular decision. Yeah? The salespeople articulate their capabilities and qualify the opportunity. First piece, articulating capabilities means demonstrating to the client what we are capable of and what this solution is capable of. What will it do, and the specifics of it. Qualifying the opportunity means basically, saying to ourselves, is this a quality opportunity? And we have a couple of ways that we're going to do this. Within the sales process, there are two skills, behaviors, and documents that we can focus on to guarantee to ourselves that this is a quality opportunity. Why do we need to do this? We need to do this because this opportunity will now start costing our organization money. We will probably need to start throwing money at the opportunity in the form of pilots, demonstrations, proof of concept work, analysis, consulting days, technicians days, any amount of different reference visits. There's a lot of stuff that starts coming into the sales process which needs to be invested in. It costs money, time, and resource from the sales organization, and very often the sales organization is fine with investing, but they want a good feeling that the opportunity is qualified before going into that stage. Proof step. The customer decision maker, key decision maker, and the seller agree to go forward with a preliminary solution. Okay? So you've got the people with the money and the budget holders have seen this solution, they've seen the next steps, and they're fine with it. They haven't agreed to go forward with the whole project, but they're fine with those next steps and agreeing to move forward there. This gives the sales organization a good level, a good feeling of commitment on the side of the client to move forward. Okay? Good. Step 5. Yeah? The customer selects the option that they want to choose. The sales reps or the sales organization develops the solution with the customer. So this is probably not going to be the sales rep unless you have a sales rep who does everything in the process, which happens very often as well. But even in that case, the sales rep is going to take off their salesperson hat and they're going to put on their project managers and implementation persons or product specialist hat, because developing the solution with the customer needs to go into the full detail of the solution. This is solution overview. This is proof of concept. This is the final solution. Whatever it's called, this is the written up tender, the proposal, the final proposal. And that's the area of step 5. This is where this gets created. Yeah. So developing the solution with the customer has got the goal of getting the customer decision makers conditional approval of the proposed solution. So to all intents and purposes, we sell here in step 5, which means we should be closing this deal at the end of step 5. In the real world, step 5 is quite a long stage because solution development sometimes takes quite a long time. Project scoping should be happening here, yeah? And so there are a lot of things that can make this stage into quite a long, complex stage involving a lot of people. So, step 6. Step 6 is where the customer resolves concerns and decides. Yeah? So step 6 is where the customer is faced with that final decision. Costs a lot of money. Do we now agree to go with this? Yeah? So the salespeople are closing the sale, and the proof step of this is quite simple. The customer and the seller sign a contract. So our target has been fulfilled, or at least the target for this opportunity, and the deal is closed. Yeah? Step 7, we implement the solution and evaluate the success of the opportunity. So our implementation teams, project managers are coming into step 7, and the customer is implementing now, and we are monitoring the implementation and checking conditions of satisfaction. Salespeople come back in step 7. Yeah, the sales reps come in because they want to make sure that the opportunity runs in the correct way. The sales organization is implementing this opportunity at this stage, and so we're checking with the customer that everything is going okay. Yeah, obviously the sales reps are looking for new opportunity back in step 1 and back in step 2, and this is why it's called a sales cycle, because from step 7 we will find new opportunity into step 1 and step 2 of a new sales process. Yeah. Proof step of step 7, the customer acknowledges the value of the solution. Okay. Yeah. So quite simple. The customer says it was great, it's working really well, it's going the way we want it to. So, and now finally we come to step 0. Look at that. Step 0 there. And actually what's important about step 0 is this. What's important about step 0 is that it is not really connected to step 7 of that sales process. Step 0 is represented by this call, this telephone, and that means cold calling. And so, you know, this is not a customer job. This is a sales organization's job. The sales organization will organize and execute what we call an acquisition campaign. So this step 0 is focused on getting new opportunity from new client bases, finding new businesses and new companies to work with, finding opportunities that did not come from anywhere before. Yeah? Now, nobody on the planet likes cold calling, or there are a couple of sadomasochistic type people who may get a kick out of it. But cold calling is a tough job, and it takes quite a tough principle behind it to make it work well. Yeah? So the proof step of this is finding new customers to sell to. Okay, so that's the overview of the sales process. And now, if we just work through it one more time, I'm going to just highlight the main skills that are behind these different stages. Because each stage in the sales process comes associated with certain skills that the salespeople or the people involved in that stage need to actually have at that stage. Yeah, so let's look at that. Okay, step 1. Apart from all of the normal communication skills of building rapport and creating relationship and getting first meetings, etc. We also have the skill of account planning. Account planning is one of the key skills that comes into step 1, and we also have the skill of understanding the IT environment, and we look at that with a particular tool that we're going to call the total solution landscape. It's a very critical tool that comes up to us, comes throughout the whole sales process. Yeah. Step 2, The skill is creating curiosity. The skill is using value statements. The skill is being able to consistently say to the customer, what about this? What about this? And showing new ideas and keeping ideas fresh. Yeah? And identifying new opportunity. One of the main skills behind step 3 is the skill of consultative question asking, of not speaking too much, not like me, of asking questions to build buying ideas with clients. The skill in step 4 is one of gaining commitment from the customer. The real skill in step 4 is one of professionalism. Another key skill in step 4 in the IT industry is handing over from sales reps to pre-sales and project managers in a way that you don't lose any information and you really create a good feeling of a good sales team in front of the client. The skill in step 5, probably the main skill, is asking the right questions to guarantee the eventual success of the proposal. Yeah? In the IT industry, where so many projects fail to achieve the expected, the expectations, that's probably the key skill in step 5, is really asking those questions up front so that you guarantee the success of the project. In step 6, we have negotiating. Negotiating is the key skill for the stage where we have to close the sale. Yeah? And all of the psychology and the negotiating guidelines and different tools and techniques in order to run good negotiations with clients. Step 7 is about, I think, step 7 is obviously troubleshooting, yeah, because very often projects don't go as planned and the salesperson has to deal with that. Step 7 is also about the skill of writing reference stories and creating reference stories and focusing on value again and looking for the value that services and solutions have delivered to clients. And the skill of step 0 is quite simple. A thick skin and the skill of dealing with a lot of failure on a very consistent level. Yeah? The skill of picking up the phone and saying, excuse me, would you like to speak to me? And they say, no, thank you very much, beep, beep, beep. That's a very important skill to have in this stage. Step 0, the skill, is one of organization, is one of clearness, is one of being able to speak to a good, clear story and script. It's about writing those scripts in the first place and setting up the whole acquisition campaign and then doing it from beginning to end. Okay, thanks very much. That's the quick overview.